as we are talking, the Raiders are going to take the practice field, and we're assuming number 84 is not going to be out there. Adam Schefter, our former colleague, now with ESPN, saying that they're going to suspend Antonio Brown because he and our buddy Mayock got into it. I mean, we're all shaking our heads right here, but what do you guys? What is your first blush thought, Dan?
It's one of those things where, of course, it's stunning to see it in the tweet, but it's also not shocking because there was not breadcrumbs. There was big, fat T-bone steaks of a trail leading from how things ended in Pittsburgh. And our colleague Aditi Kinkhabwala, who covers the Steelers really well, and she's embedded with that team, she told us at the owners' meetings how that man, Antonio Brown, came in as a humble guy, a no-name out of college, and by the time he finished his run with the Steelers, he was a totally different personality, not a teammate. And what's happened is he went to the Raiders, and it's the same guy. So Oakland, at the time, it seemed like it was a good deal, and the Steelers got killed. Well, who's it a good deal for now? I never thought he was going to make it to Vegas. Now is he going to make it to week 1? That's wild.
Well, according to our current colleague, Ian Rappaport, it never got physical. He had to be restrained. However, Antonio Brown did threaten to punch Mike Mayock in the face and then punted a football and say, "Find me for that." What? That is the details of the getting into it on Wednesday. And again, this is stuff that can be used against him as conduct detrimental to build a case should the Oakland Raiders think that this is a bridge too far to get out of this contract. That if they do not have to pay him the guaranteed dollars he is owed, they could just walk away from him and say, grieve that, and that will be the end of that. And wouldn't you think they should do something like that right now?
I think they should, because it reminds me in a much more darker, dramatic arc than what we've dealt with Andrew Luck and the Colts, is you have the rest of your organization and team to deal with. And Mike Mayock, to me, does not seem like someone that wants to play along and dance with a 17-week drama. He's already had to confront this publicly over and over. It's a big headache. And what are you going to tell the rest of your team if you're going to allow a player to behave this way? I think that you're right. The Antonio Brown, the early career, hardworking, hard practicing, super plugged in Antonio Brown is a different figure than they're dealing with in Oakland. It's not. They probably knew that there were some extra scenarios with him, but they signed up for something much more than I think Mike Mayock wants to put up with right now. You should be able to get out of that money, because in what case can you? How could anything be more extra than this, than a player attacking the GM?
Because he is, though, still, as you saw in Hard Knocks, and I said that from this desk about a month ago, like find the kid that we're talking about, the one that didn't get any offers out of South Florida except for Central Michigan, who then got drafted late and balled out and became one of the greats in the history of this game through the first 9 years of a career. Find that guy, put him in a new helmet, and go ball out. We saw, though, on Hard Knocks, he still is working hard. Yeah. I mean, he is still one of those guys that's looking at every metric to try and get better and gain an edge and be great. It's just that he just can't stop himself, I think, from a self-destructive behavior in some way, shape, or form. You get fined. Sometimes you don't get fined, even though you get a letter to do that. Move on. Don't post it and try and make an enemy of the guy who did execute the trade on behalf of the Raiders, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, to your point, that the Insta story was so unnecessary. You're this close to week 1. You have to know that immediately makes you, again, the number one story and the controversial figure. And maybe that's where Antonio Brown's mindset is in 2019, that's become more important than just balling out and staying in line and being a good teammate. And that's when you just wonder, like, what's going on? None of us know him personally, and you don't want to ever speculate about where a guy is mentally. But it just makes you wonder if he is hardwired for professional football at this stage in his life, which is such a shame because he's an absolute stud. We know that he's one of the most productive players of all time, and that's why Mike Mayock and John Gruden got sucked into it. But, if they had a time machine, I think we know what would happen now.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.